Dusen for OBJ Regional. It's the discount store that Eastern Ontario can call its very own. I've been a fan since the very beginning. Just check my closet. Not only has it outlived many competitors during 60 years, business is booming. Witness its massive new distribution center at Johnstown, south of Ottawa. All indications are that the humble little store, named after a jungle beast, has only begun to roar. Mark Van Dusen from Ottawa Business Journal Regional, and I'm here today with Paul Wood, Chief Operating Officer of Giant Tiger Stores, which, Paul, I don't have to tell you, is a very familiar name in Canada. And I'm not, you know what, Paul, I'm actually not really sure where to begin. I find the whole story behind Giant Tiger very, very intriguing. So, I mean, to me, and see if you agree, it's a story of the little store that could. What do you think?
Yeah, Mark, thanks for having me today. I do believe that is a great way to frame it. Certainly from humble beginnings, and thankfully kind of maintaining the humbleness all the way through. But where we are today is a much different place than the one store on George Street in the market in 1961.
An hour or so south of here, where the Highway 416 meets the 401 at Johnstown, you've got a new distribution center up and running. How's that going?
That's been going really well. Centralizing our distribution was a key part of our growth strategy over the last few years, and we had outgrown the space that we had in Ottawa, both on Walkley Road and some additional space not far away on Bantry in the same corner of the city. And so we were real thankful with the opportunity of finding the property there right near an interchange to the highway, to the 401. And that is a great location for us centrally to where our stores are located with respect to our transportation. So we reduce about 860,000 kilometers a year from just being along the 401 corridor than up in Ottawa. And the facility has a lot of state-of-the-art technology in it. It was a real big investment for us as a company, but we're certainly thankful that we've been able to make it, and the system is certainly providing a workplace for our employees there and serving our stores across the country.
That's a 600,000 square foot space, that distribution. I don't know what that means. How big is that?
It's big for sure. It's also about its cubic capacity is pretty large. The ceiling's about 60 feet off the ground. So it's I think equivalent to maybe 10 or 11 football fields in terms of floor area when you compute it out that way. But it was built to allow us to continue to grow and support a growing store base over the years ahead of us for a number of years. So we have some capacity there to continue to grow. And it does what it needs to really keep our stores stocked with those great products for our customers every day.
That's a big space, 10, 11 football field. That's a longer pass than I'll ever be able to throw, Paul. But what's it done for the Johnstown area economically?
Yeah, great question, Mark. The township of Edwardsburg Cardinal, where Johnstown is a part of, we're very supportive from the outset for us as we moved into the property there. We've been able to bring the opportunity for employment to a number of folks that have joined our team since we've moved into the space in Johnstown. And we're just happy to be a part of that community and be a contributing member to that part of the province.
Again, I worked along the Seaway, for a number of years, and having grown up here, I've noticed things. For the longest time, it seemed as if the geographical location of places along the Seaway between Toronto and Montreal were ignored. But all of a sudden, businesses are seemingly crawling over each other to get space down there. Why Eastern Ontario and why there?
Well, again, I go back to what I said a little bit earlier. For us, that is almost the exact epicenter of the distribution of our stores between Ontario and the Maritimes, and just how they're spread out. And for us, it was a very central location for our distribution, and strategically allows us to kind of minimize our transportation kilometers and yet reach a great deal of the population of our store base across Canada.
Why the push to expand now, Paul? You've touched on it. Can you tell me a little bit more? From my observation, going back a few decades, Giant Tiger seemed to be very cautious and very, very particular about how quickly it moved. And all of a sudden now, this launch forward. Why now?
I think, Mark, it mostly comes back to opportunity. Over the last 5 or 6 years, there was a lot of real estate in the retail sector that came available post Target's venture into Canada. And when they left, there was a lot of that real estate that had formerly been Zellers locations that were Targets temporarily, that then came back onto the market, and a number of those were divided into smaller spaces that then kind of fit with our model. So a lot of it, again, was really just tied to the opportunity. We believe we have, still some room to grow in terms of our store footprint, where there are Canadians that aren't close to a Giant Tiger yet, compared to some of our competitors. But saying that, you mentioned our cautious and conservative nature. That's still been still permeated through those decisions. They've been done very, very subject to very rigorous analysis and very meticulously planned according to our forward strategy. And so, while it has been an augmentation of the pace perhaps that we've had in previous years, we're still ensuring that we're providing the same degree of rigor and conservatism around those decisions to ensure the company stability is preserved for many years to come.
You mentioned, I mentioned some of what the services you offer customers, and services that perhaps contribute to your ongoing success. The online shopping, you guys are, I think you have ship to store services, or direct to home as well, and that's part of competing these days. Is the whole online shopping thing the reason why you have that new distribution center operating in Johnstown? Is it essential that you be there to compete in today's world?
Well, the online service and option for our customers is absolutely essential in today's retail world. The Johnstown Distribution Center doesn't directly tie to the online activity, however. It is there to service our stores and ensure that they are stocked with product. And indirectly, that allows the stores to fulfill some of those online orders for customers to come and pick up at our stores. But there are a couple of other channels of how product can be ordered online and can end up getting through to a customer. So the Johnstown Distribution Center is really part of an integral part of our overall system of distribution of product, but certainly not specifically tied just to the e-commerce growth.
Can you describe in general, Paul, talking about the distribution center, the technology, the Symbotic technology? I've seen some online examples of it, and it looks dazzling. How do you describe it?
Yeah, that's a pretty good adjective, Mark. It's, as I mentioned before, a very significant investment for us in technology, and it's the first of that system specifically is the first of its kind in Canada, and it's got a system of over 200 autonomous bots or autonomous robots that move freely throughout a storage structure, carrying a case of merchandise as they go. And so it's either taking a case and putting it away to store, or it's pulling a case out to put in sequence to be built onto a pallet to go to a store. So it really automates the kind of a good portion of the full case distribution component of our products going through to our stores. We still have some of the components of our product mix that don't fit nicely inside a box that can work with the bottom. We still have a lot of individuals helping out there. We think of some of the more bulky items or some of the larger seasonal products that may go through our stores, but a good portion of the product every day is going through the robotic system. And so it really adds to our capacity, supports our ability to ship over 6,000 different SKUs a week for stores, and really just provides some increased productivity, which allows us to process those orders faster and support our overall growth strategy into the future.
Paul, I appreciate it. Thanks very much for your time.
Mark, thank you very much today. Great chatting with you. Appreciate your time.